Hey guys, Ryan Smith with the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team here to discuss the pros and cons of doing an open house in today's real estate market. So open houses, do they work or do they not? Well, depending on the agent that you talk to, you're going to hear a lot of different opinions. But I thought it'd be great for us to do a video today discussing that. You know, that's something we hear a lot of sellers asking questions about is, does it work? Do open houses truly work? Are they successful? And is it a big thing, a big key in helping me sell my house? So first, let's just talk about some of the pros and cons. So, and I think we'll start out first of all with the cons. So, and the biggest con to real estate open houses, I think there's three big ones, but let's start with the first one, is that it's got a very low probability of a sale. I know that's kind of depressing to put out there at the very beginning, but the chances of actually doing an open house and turning them into an actual buyer or picking up your buyer for that house off the open house is exponentially small. Second con is there's a lot of security concerns. So, you know, someone is literally walking around your house and it's very difficult to keep eyes and tabs on all these people at one time. So if you have 10 people in your house, you know, you could have a few of them walking off to the playroom, a few of them walking off to the master, and you've got one real estate agent that's there trying to keep track of all these people. That can be very difficult to do. And sometimes since you can't keep your eyes on them, it's very possible that somebody could get into your stuff, steal something, you know. I personally have never run into that issue in doing an open house or even really in showing houses, but it is a concern and a risk, and I have heard of those sort of things happening, so it is something to be aware of. And the third con is and a very common con, is that a lot of times the open houses tend to bring out the nosy neighbors. These are people who have always wanted to see what your master bedroom looked like, or they have always wanted to walk through your house because they always liked it for one reason or another. They heard stories about what was inside and all this stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of nosy neighbors that are going to come walking through your house during an open house. And so, in fact, a lot of times we see that being the majority of our traffic. So it's going to be people who are really not necessarily interested in buying a house or your house per se, but they're just kind of nosy, want to walk through the house and check things out. On a positive perspective, it does actually, it is open to everybody, right? So anybody that's out there can drive up and walk through the house. And so one of the things that does is it does pull down sometimes some of the barriers of engaging with a real estate agent, having a discussion about buying a house. Now, referring back up to the cons, very rarely is it actually this house that they end up buying, right? But for a real estate agent, if you're looking at picking up a potential buyer in today's market, you know, it does break down some of those walls where a buyer may be willing to walk in and engage with a real estate agent and discuss, you know, their plans in buying a house or what they've been looking for and those sorts of things. And then, obviously, it's very convenient. So for anybody who is out driving around, you know, they don't have to try to schedule a time to come back and see it. I mean, it's very convenient. They can just go inside and walk around. And then finally, the other pro to it is it's very different than just seeing it in pictures, right? So now you're actually browsing inside the house. You can walk inside. You can actually pick things. I don't want to say pick things up, but you can actually pick up the depth perception, right, as you're walking inside the house. Just not picking things up inside the house. But they can see the depth perception as they're walking through the house. They're actually seeing it tangibly with their eyes. It's not them looking at a 3D walkthrough or a virtual video tour. Although that stuff's pretty realistic nowadays, it's going to be them actually walking through and seeing it in person, and that is helpful sometimes. So, but long story short, pros and cons: do they work? Do they not work? I would never want to say that they never work. I mean, that's a very strong statement. And I think that there are some ways that a successful open house can be done. They can be very financially taxing if they're done correctly. They don't have to necessarily be financially taxing, but I've found that the most effective ones involve tons and tons of signs and investing some money into making sure that you push the open house out there. That said, I would go back to the first point. You know, honestly, we've seen a very low percentage of the time that open houses are done that it actually does culminate in a sale for that open house. So the question becomes, what is the goal of the open house? If you're an agent on our team and we would just want to pick up buyers, which would be purchasing in any price range, then the open house could be a great thing. If the goal is selling that specific house that we're holding open, you know, statistically the chances of that are very low. So never say never. Never say that we'd never do it, but it is important to know the pros and cons as we discuss that. And as certainly as we visit with a client, we take it on a case-by-case basis and try to give them good advice in the best ways that we can to help them maximize their home sale. But there's some of the great facts about open houses. So hopefully this has been helpful. So appreciate your time very much today. Look forward to catching you guys up on the next video. And like I always say, if you have any other topics that you want to hear about, feel free to reach out. Would love to cover them here on the video blog. So hope you're having a great day. Talk to you soon.